everyone, and welcome to the Happy Hour, the Happy Half Hour podcast with Cameron and Lauren Neat. My name is Cameron Carter, and you may know me from such places as the window store, where you have seen me hopefully clearly because those windows are so on fleek.
And my name is Lauren Neat. You may know me from Match.com.
Oh, well, that's not how I know you.
No.
Lauren, oh my goodness.
And you said Cameron and Lauren Neat, so it sounds like we're married. We're not married.
Not married.
No,
that's not happening. That wasn't the big thing. No, I'm still married.
Married, but not to me.
Right. I'm still, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're not, Lauren, we're not here to talk about personal lives, anything like that.
Right.
Why are we here?
We are here to talk about happy things in life.
Yes.
Things that have made us happy this week.
Yes.
And we want to give you guys an escape from the horrible world out there. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it really just bites the big one, you know?
But it's sometimes, you know what? It's like, sometimes the world it's just scooping up a mouthful of dirt and chewing on it. It's like, it's nasty. That's weird.
And we want you to spit that dirt out and come over and hang out with us because we'll give you a popsicle.
Yeah. Oh, come on in. Hang your hat.
Yeah.
Come on in. This is the happy hour.
The happy hour.
The happy hour with, it might as well be spelled Haffy, but it's not. Halfy. The L is, as we have learned, silent.
Yeah, we had to let Cameron know that.
We had to figure this out before the podcast. It's a little different. Our vibe is a little different. Now, you may be saying, what do you mean? I've never heard of you before. You're right. You haven't. But there may be the slightest, tiniest little chance you may have heard of us. We did, aside from the window store and Match.com, there was this podcast project. It's been so long since we've even done it. Maybe, if you might have been one of the 13 people that listened, welcome back. But
more like 13 times 5.
Well, actually, realistically, times 10.
13 times a 10. You can tell who actually paid attention.
Absolutely. So we're looking back on that, and I don't like how we're looking at it. Hey, all things are good and positive and plus in here.
I think yes, agreed.
Absolutely. And so
welcome.
Why don't we, thank you. I feel like we can tone it down on the welcome. Everyone is already in the space. They've already put up their hat. You've already given them a popsicle.
Yeah.
A creamsicle at that. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It does. So the premise of this whole thing, what we're going to do, we're not just going to act, belligerently positive. We're actually going to go through and, like Lauren was saying, just kind of share what we think is cool. It's really what all podcasts do at the end of the day. We kind of threw away all premises, so they're gone. Lauren, let's empty out our pockets of premises. Are your pockets out? All right, that's good. Put them in this box. Is it in there? Is your belt off? Your premise belt? The premise belt is off.
I don't wear a belt.
You could leave that on. Leave that on. Okay, you're good. Now just come on through. The thing just went off. You just beeped the premise beeper.
So I needed to take off my premise belt.
Well, look, we need a little premise here.
Okay.
So
I should take off my premise belt.
It's okay. You left it on. You're already through the beeper, and it's holding up the line. So here we are.
And it's holding up my pants.
Yeah, exactly. How about that? Okay. Pretty good.
More of that later.
Hopefully not too much later.
Premise belts coming
But
up.
that's what we're going to bring you some good goofs, some smiles, things like that. So what we're going to do is we've compiled lists every week here of things that, and not to correct you from earlier, but maybe recent in our lives, not so much from the past week, but the things that we have thought of within the past week that we're like, oh my gosh, this is really crazy. I love this experience. I love this thing. I love this, blah, blah, blah. I want to share it with you. Things are meaningless and, kind of we're going ecclesiastical and songs of Solomon-y. Things, at the end of the day won't bring true happiness.
Yay!
But we're going to try. We're going to give momentary illusions of
joy,
happiness, all that. Because, hey, we need a little bit of distraction, right?
Right. And it's all about fellowship and fun.
Fellowship, fun, and free drinks
And-
at the happy hour.
Right. Yeah.
All drinks are free here.
It's true.
That just absolutely,
As
it's
long
true
as
for
you-
us.
Yeah, it's true for me.
It's not true. If you're playing this podcast at a bar, as you know, a lot of bartenders play, they throw out the music this day and age, and put on a good solid podcast, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Drinks may be free. Actually, I want to go ahead and say, sure, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're at a bar and this podcast is playing, you're hearing this over the loudspeaker.
Show them our podcast, you get a free drink.
Exactly. Lauren, why don't is it okay if I go first?
You may.
Because it's very simple here on the happy hour. I have something that I love, and this is actually something that kind of brought you and me together, and definitely me and my wife, and I may have talked about this a lot on the previous podcast, but oh man, one of the things that gets me going in a good, positive, get me going in the morning type of way is coffee.
Oh yeah.
Right? A good cup of coffee. You may be thinking, hey, that's pretty basic.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna add another layer on there, right?
Like a parfait.
Like a parfait.
Coffee parfait.
It sounds so gross.
Sounds so good.
No, coffee parfait. Okay, coffee flavor. Honestly, Lauren, do you like things that are coffee flavored other than coffee?
Yes.
Like what?
Ice cream.
Really?
Love it.
This is right, because you brought ice cream to something that we were doing. You bought coffee ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Did you say this is right with a victorious fist raised in the air just then?
This is right. All things are right here. Except for left hands. Lauren, do you really? So what about, like, I've had coffee flavored yogurt. I've had coffee flavored Oreos, things like that. How do you feel about those?
I don't like yogurt very much in general, so no. And Oreos should just be what they are.
Absolutely.
Which is black and white.
Black and white. What about double stuffed?
That's just an Oreo.
Does that float your boat? No.
I don't see the point in buying a
non-double stuff,
Oreo.
right? The standard should. I think the standard should be double stuffed.
It's just stuffed.
What about golden Oreos?
No.
No?
Get those out of here.
Oh, really? Birthday cake? All that? Is it gone?
No, I don't want it. I don't want that. When I want an Oreo, I want an Oreo.
You're a purist.
Yes.
And I think that's fine. I think that's respectable. I think going back to the coffee, the specific type of coffee that I like is iced coffee, or rather cold brewed coffee. Now, you snobby little coffee a-hole out there. Sorry. It's okay. We're here. You've already put up your hats. You're enjoying a good popsicle.
You can stay here, coffee a-hole.
Yeah.
You're welcome here.
You're fine here. But seriously, cold brew, I don't know if you know this, Lauren, but a lot of people out there would probably get on me to say cold brew and iced coffee, those two things. Do you know the difference?
No, I don't. Cameron.
No, because what I was saying, like, people will get on you for that, because there's...
For not knowing the difference?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, you have a brewer that makes normal coffee, right? Mm-hmm. And you brew coffee like you normally do. And then you just put ice either, in your capturing container where you're collecting your brewed coffee in, or you brew your coffee and then you add ice to it.
Right.
Now, this is kind of the classic way of doing iced coffee, but...
It waters it down, right?
Right. Exactly. Now, some people will be like, well, you counterbalance that by brewing it a little stronger, your coffee concentrate, and then you add ice to it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what does iced coffee taste like to you?
Weak coffee.
Weak coffee, okay.
Weak cold coffee.
Weak cold coffee. I get that.
And weak old coffee.
Is it
weak cold and weak old?
Oh.
Depends where you put that space.
So you think it not only tastes like weak old coffee, but timing wise, it also tastes like it's been aged?
Right.
No, in all seriousness, is that how you feel?
Yeah, like it's a week old and it's weak.
There's no inflection you can put on this to, like, convey a different meaning. You're still saying the same thing.
I realized that in the middle of trying to do it.
The struggle is very real for you.
Like, if I open my eyes up big enough, it'll come out right. Okay.
Now listen.
Yes.
I think iced coffee is trash. Okay, cold brewed coffee is plain pure and awesome. I love it. It is that positive thing. I seriously think that I get inspired. I think I get creative. I think I obviously get energized but my brain gets moving. It is the perfect give me that pill type drug, Limitless with Bradley Cooper type pill that gets me going, that it expands my mind. Okay. This sounds stupid, I know, but there's a good solid after I've had my good cold brewed iced coffee. Now, notice I said cold brewed before that, and then you say iced coffee. Oh. That makes it correct. You have to have the word cold brewed in there. Okay. So let me explain. Let me explain.
Let me explain.
Can I'm going to explain this to you.
Please,
is that okay?
I need that.
Oh my gosh, here it comes. Now, I know mansplaining is a little, it's a little dated, but here we go. And by the way, always make sure the man of the house is operating the coffee equipment. Just, okay. Can't do that.
If this wasn't a happy hour,
And so we will do a full toddy. We'll put the coffee grounds immersed in, there's this guy by the name of Lorenzo Perkins who resides in Austin, Texas. He is the coffee guru, I would say, of this modern day in this part of America. He has his own coffee shop called Fleet Coffee in Austin. He does an awesome
fleet, like a
fleet
of ships.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so he's kind of eastern side of Austin where all the cool stuff is. But a couple years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, he came up with this method of making the perfect iced coffee, and it's called a hot bloom iced coffee. And this is my Bible.
That sounds kind of ironic.
I know, exactly. But to extract all the good things that reside in a coffee bean, you have to have a little heat in there. And then on top of that, you have to have just cold water that comes in and stops that extraction. So you basically add hot water to the beans for about a minute, and you extract a lot of the good stuff, some of the oils, aromatics, and all this blah, 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 all the good stuff. And then you stop that dead on after a minute. You dump ice water and all this stuff on it, and you say, hey, I'm going to stop that, and we're going to slow it on down from here on out for 12 hours or 13. I know. You get a little groove on, it gets all nice and chilly and sexy. And
gosh.
Really cold. And then at the end of the 12 hours, you just drain it and you're good to go. And you can dilute it based on your strength. So I do a 1-to-10 ratio and dilute it a little bit to kind of get to a 1-to-17 ratio. But when I get to that 1-to-17 ratio, it is
Wait.
primo.
So is this 1 what for 17 what?
Oh, I am terribly sorry. Let me slow down.
Please.
For you laymen's. Lame lemons. And going back to mansplaining.
First episode, already sexist. This is the happy hour of sexism coming to you live.
I never said anything about not being sexist. No, that crap needs to get out of here. I really do want to explain this to you.
Please.
I really do. So coffee. So your coffee should always be the smaller unit in the ratio. So 1-to-17, 1 unit of coffee to 17 units of water. And that's usually for me grams, like 1 gram of a coffee bean needs 17 grams or milliliters of water, in order to get the perfect dilution of the coffee in, the coffee bean in the water to create said cup of coffee. And so like most people when taste testing love, the majority of the bell curve says they love a 1-to-17 ratio. And that's very true for iced coffee. It's better when it's with the ice in it if it's closer to the water molecules, whether frozen or not, within that solution. It's better to have that at a 1-to-17. So at the end of the day, you'll notice you have ice cubes in there that still takes part of the actual volume. And so you'll notice maybe it's a little stronger tasting. Now, you said weak for iced coffee. Hopefully you and other listeners know that iced coffee is a little stronger. And it has a little more caffeine in it because you extract it a little longer. So that's why I get them good vibes. Brew? Oh, yes.
Well, okay, before, so really quick for people out there, well, preferably in the Dallas area.
See?
Before we move on, can you give me the top 3 best cold brews in Dallas?
Or can I tell you the top ones I've had in my life?
You can, but at least make some of them in Dallas.
In Dallas. Okay, so there's a business that I always have championed and I go It's Crooked Tree Coffee House. They make a solid cold brew. They kind of keep within the right ratios for the most part. And they switch out their coffee every week. A lot of people say, hey, we're going to use the same coffee bean week to week, and that's going to be our cold brew coffee. Sometimes they use a lesser bean, but Crooked Tree will use nice Ethiopian, rich, not like rich in flavor, but like coffees that may be a little
Rich
more
in
expensive.
experience.
Yeah, and in flavor tones, things like that. So they switch it out, and so it's different week to week, but for the most part, it's always good.
So that's Crooked Tree in Dallas.
Crooked Tree, Houndstooth, Austin, Dallas. Friends that work there have told me that they've made it pretty awesome lately. They changed one or two things to it. I don't even know if I can say. I know the owner, but I don't know if he would care if he wouldn't. It doesn't matter. It's been really good lately. And so, their iced coffee is pretty great. And then on top of that, I would say, my favorite iced coffee of all time is this place in, southern LA, Portola, near Huntington Beach. Best iced coffee I've ever had.
Best cold brew you've ever had.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this. Whoa, the student has become the teacher.
What is this personality? Is this the new you for the podcast?
This is me.
It's like you're a fun DJ vampire. Like, oh, you're the Count.
I never realized how much my genuine laugh sounds like the Count Chocula's laugh.
I would say
Count Dracula.
Count Dr. Dracula.
Yep.
Dr. Dracula. Mm-hmm. I think there's like 2-3 jokes in there. But Portola coffee.
Okay.
I've noticed that the best cold brew that people can make is fresh. Fresh cold brew is always great. That 1-to-17 ratio. Your grind size is right to where you extract it perfectly. And I've noticed that coffees of the natural variety, those that have been kind of left to dry in the sun with the coffee cherry on the bean, this gets a little too technical, but they have more of a fruity nature. So you have more flavors of blueberry, and it's like, oh man, I'm drinking blueberry like coffee every morning, and it's really good. You don't have to add anything. It's fantastic. So my first thing to start us out with is iced coffee.
No, it's cold brew.
Oh my gosh. Who am I?
Who are you?
This isn't good.
I feel like I need to like preface now mine with Cameron actually is a bit of an expert on coffee. I am not an expert on anything I'm about to talk about.
Well, this is the fun. There's no naysaying.
No.
Oh, actually, there will be.
Nay.
Oh, it's horses?
Yeah. If we have to neigh, we have to neigh like a horse. That's our rule.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really don't think there are rules, nor does there really need to be that much background. It's really like what's canning your jams at the end of the day.
What's canning your jams?
So honestly,
good.
I've given you my thing. What's canning your jams this week?
Well, what's canning my jams, which is a phrase I've never heard of, which I enjoy immensely, is the show that I have been, I guess you could call it binge watching for the last week. I've caught up to the present day now, but I couldn't get enough. And it's the show that's on Fox currently called Last Man on Earth.
Oh.
Yes.
With Will Forte? Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Have you watched them all?
I have not watched them all.
Okay. I will say each season is drastically different from all of them.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Season 2 is fantastic.
Now, can you do a quick refresher without spoilers? Because
yes.
I think as soon as you start talking a little bit about the cast, plural.
Oh, then it's like everything's ruined.
Right.
But you do know that within the first episode, you realize he is not the last human on Earth.
Right.
There is, you meet another woman. So basically the premise of the show is there was a virus that swept through the world and killed everyone except for Will Forte.
Right.
Which he is a complete and total idiot, goofball, goober. I mean, total, just like if you were playing off of like Darwin's natural selection, he would have been the first to go.
Right.
But he's not. He's the last one left. But he is the last man alive.
Right.
And he thinks he's all alone, and he's created like a whole he lives in Tucson, Arizona, and he's created a whole world of like he takes a hint from Tom Hanks in Castaway, and he creates
it goes a little too far.
A whole like friend group of sports balls.
Yes, this is the best part of the show. Can you name a couple of his friends?
I can't remember their names. No.
Okay, but so keep going. Tell us like. So that's my favorite part is all of his ball friends and his various ball. They're different balls, and he's named them, and they're just so many of them. But he knows every name, and it's always repeated in the same order every time.
And they all have different personalities. But I feel like I can't give much away. But basically, let's just say he's not the last man on the earth. He's not the last man alive, and or last person, I should say. But there's so many different cast members that are introduced randomly, and so many cameos. I mean, like,
yes. It's
so funny. And the thing is that I love about the show is you literally never know who's gonna die next, which sounds super dark, but this is how I explained it to my roommates. It's The Walking Dead for people that are way too much of a wiener to watch The Walking Dead. So that's me.
They don't like the gore, right?
I don't like the gore, but there's something about this post-apocalyptic world that's very intriguing, and like a lawless land that is very intriguing, but like I can't handle it with guts and blow-ups and stuff like that. What I want is silly Will Forte with half of his beard shaved off, because they actually did that for like a whole, like 8 episodes. Literally, his entire half of his face was shaved completely, including head, eyebrow, everything. And he left it that way for like 8 episodes.
You could do that.
Because he's Will Forte, and like...
and you're alone.
Exactly. And he even, like, his eyebrows were shaved for an entire season. It's ridiculous.
I think it really shows the human nature. So where you have more a post-apocalyptic type... I know the word. You have shows that are after things go bad, and...
things go bad.
Shows you who we are as a human culture. I think that it shows the darker side of this. This show shows the crazier things that we do. We would walk around naked or just in our underwear. We would just go buy a gun and shoot out windows randomly because we can.
Because there's no one to tell you no.
Right? Or we would go bowling. Doesn't he go bowling somehow? Or you're like, my favorite thing is just like, this is me. This is exactly what I would do if everyone disappeared on the face of the earth and I was truly alone. I would fill up the back of a pickup truck with a bunch of bowling balls and just try to, slosh them out by doing crazy donuts and I don't know, things like that.
It's stuff that it's basically like everything you wanted to try when you were 8.
Exactly.
But like you didn't have the money or the ability to, but you can now because no one's telling you no.
Exactly. So my thing just as every 8-year-old was to have a Jello pool. This actually gets pretty close to that, but a little more adult.
Yeah. Mine was to have a noodle pool.
Right.
Full of cooked noodles.
You and my wife are kindred spirits. I think at the end of the day, I think that's one y'all might have shared.
Noodle pool. Except for they would have to be warm because like cold noodles are really cold.
Right.
Cold wet noodles. Cold wet noodles.
Cold wet noodles. What else can we say? Is that your next thing?
How was your Monday, Barb? Just a big bowl of cold wet noodles.
Big bowl of cold wet noodles.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite things right now.
I love that. So this is like Lauren's favorite things. Like we're kind of can we say her name? Because if we say the thing, we may get sued.
I don't know.
They got the lawyers. A certain person that gets excited about things, and then she has a list called Blank's favorite things.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She's kind of the ultimate power in the universe.
Oh,
yeah, rhymes with utopia, or kind of like if you were to take out a syllable of utopia, utopia's favorite things,
or it kind of sounds like okra.
Okra's favorite things. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the second. That should be the subtitle or the subtitle for this episode is Okra's favorite things. Sure.
Jinx. But I really think for all of you out there who wanted to watch The Walking Dead because you like this type of thing, but you can't handle it like me. There's no shame. It's okay. Some of us are visual creatures and we can't get that stuff out of our heads. Watch The Last Man on Earth. Will Forte will annoy you sometimes. keep pushing
You're
through.
absolutely right. I think that's a good premise, but that is definitely, it's worth pushing through.
Yeah.
It's one of these shows that I was watching when it came out, and so I got a little frustrated. It's a good show to binge watch. At the end of the day.
I was actually going to say the opposite. It is not a good show to binge
get
watch.
on out. Take your hat and put your popsicle in the trash and go.
No, I'm staying because if you watch it too much, that's when he'll annoy you. You got to give yourself a little space, maybe like 3 at a time, then take a break.
Yeah.
Then you'll watch it again and be like, oh yeah, I love him.
Well, the thing that I did not like about this, but is so overshadowed by the creativity and the things and the activities they give him, is that he's kind of this reoccurring liar that gets caught in a pickle. You know what I mean?
Which that's what annoyed me.
Exactly. But once you get over that, and I think the writers got a lot smarter in the later seasons, and they stopped doing that as a reoccurring, like, they create depth to the character rather than this kind of Coyote Roadrunner, same scenario,
right?
Get yourself in a predicament type thing. But I love it. I honestly was looking for a new show to watch, and I need to pick that one back up.
There you go, man.
Cool.
You're welcome.
That's what we get here.
Season
I love
2,
this.
though, season 2, it is deep, and it is so good.
Have we met the other SNL cast member yet?
Yes.
Okay.
We have.
That's about right where I
Which
started.
one?
Really? One what?
Which SNL cast member?
Oh.
Hint, hint.
I don't know.
Wink,
I need to catch
wink.
it. This is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I have one more, and I'm going to do a quickie, and then you can do a quickie, a fast one. I'm going to go. So one of the other things I wanted to share is, and you probably know this about me. Maybe you don't, but I like traveling, but short-term traveling. Like you are a type that loves to get out and schedule time out to go on weekend trips, get out and plane rides and kind of go check out other cities. My favorite kind of traveling is just a good car ride. But that's not specifically my thing. My thing, is, and it's very rare that I get to do this is, and there's an Amos Lee song about this, and I know how you feel about Amos Lee, and that's not my thing.
I know what you're saying.
Getting the windows that are rolled down and just driving, especially in Texas highways, more specifically kind of middle Texas. So like when I was in college and a couple times, when I was single, this is such a single thing to do. It's really kind of, I think, stupid if you do this as a married father. But I do this now with my wife and my child, and we've maybe done this 3 or 4 times, just rolling the windows down and going for a car ride, having good music, but not rolling the windows all the way down. And it's a little cold, but you're all bundled up nice. And then you have the heater on. You know what I mean? So it counteracts that. So you get some nice cool Texas air blowing in. You have the nice heater so you're warm. You're kind of driving just far enough out of the city, and you just have the Texas stars above you. And they are surely big and bright.
Deep in the heart.
Right, and the other parts too, because we're in Dallas. And so you have to drive a little ways, but I love a good night Texas drive is what I'm saying.
I've heard people say this about the windows down when it's cold out and the heater on. I've never done it in my life.
Well,
I've never done it.
Really?
I just keep forgetting. I feel like at 29, you can't just say that. I just keep forgetting.
I could just see you pulling home and you're like, doink.
Opportunity missed.
Cheers.
Yeah, I do have a good seat warmer though, so I can imagine how luxurious that feels.
La-di-da.
Toasty buns, cool face.
Toasty buns,
but
cool
that's
face.
just how I live life normally, Yeah.
That's a nice little brag.
Yeah,
Dare I say
just gotta
humble,
throw it
sure.
out there.
Yeah.
This is a happy place.
You got to give yourself some props. I don't think anyone should compliment you in that way, but whatever. So that's my thing, my quickie.
Cool.
Hit us with your quickie.
Okay, this is a universal thing that I think most people enjoy, and it is when people that are superior to you in your workplace mispronounce words.
Oh yes.
So it's a couple of my favorites. I'll take a shot of espresso. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Or there's
I need it fast. I'm very important.
Yes, I need some espresso. Or especially, that's the other one.
Yes.
We need to focus on this, especially this part right here.
What a delight.
So those are good ones. There's some more that I found that I think
These are excellent.
They're all starting with E. People have trouble with that. Or Antarctic. No, that's correct. I'm sorry. It's
Right.
Antarctic. That's wrong. See, I get that messed up.
See, it's like
That's on me.
Yeah, I get that. It's like, potato, half. Yeah, that's how it goes. I think there is something to the more not obnoxious, but rather, people that are in authority, the people that have a higher regard for themselves, whether rightfully so, whether it's earned or not.
Yeah.
People in those camps still goofing is.
And it's kind of
great.
like, oh, we're all dumb together.
Right.
It's this kind of like, I know, but then here's the thing. Here's what's tripping me up.
Is Alec Baldwin here? Here's the thing.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Not he, is if they say a word wrong for their whole life and no one's corrected them.
Oh.
What am I saying wrong?
Exactly.
That no one has corrected me.
It's categories. Exactly. I know what this means. Yeah, I understand.
It's horrible. I just like reading Antarctic. I'm thinking too hard because I think I've said it wrong for a long time.
But I think there's this kind of, in society, there's this, it's like, I know that child is saying gibberish. I'm not going to go over there and correct them. It's cute. Let it. They.
So wait, are you comparing me to a child speaking gibberish?
All of us are in the same boat. We all have one or two words. I think everyone does have one of those two words that no one's ever corrected them on, whether just no one cares, or I think half of the time it's like, you know what? It's just let them have that. Let me have that, right?
Yeah, I get you. I feel like there's.
I don't think we should correct people. I think it's one of those gems. I don't know, because it's one. Just think of how much joy is brought out from these little gems.
It's true. I do. I mean, as much, but I don't like the feeling. I don't like what it brings out in me when I feel superior to people when they.
Most of the time, they're feeling superior to you. So
that's true, and they would have right to. Because I'm over here saying Antarctic like a doofus.
Why?
A diffuse.
A diffuse. Hey, but what are words at the end of the day? And who's
bunch
the
of letters smushed together?
Yeah, exactly.
Weak, old, weak, cold.
Old. Weak, cold. A week cold. That pretty much takes us to the end of our happy hour.
Happy hour.
You're saying it too now. We're so glad you were able to join us. Before we go, I want to would like to encourage you. This is, a new podcast project we're starting out. We used to have another podcast called Unhitched Your Dad Trying. It may still be available. I'm not 100% sure if it is. You can still go check it out. We may still release episodes on that from time to time. But for us here in the now, we definitely think you should share this with your friends, right?
Please.
Your friends at work. We would love to see anyone just sharing social media or just any way that you feel led. We're going to keep this light, simple, and quick. And it's going to be digestible at the end of the day. And that was kind of our aiming for starting this. And also, really underlying all of this is to bring some positivity in this incredibly dark world. I know I'm not, if anything, this is a quick perk up to your day. But
it's the cold brew of your morning, if you will.
Exactly.
It's the espresso in your cold brew, especially when you've had a rough day.
And the windows are rolled down and you truly feel alone, like you're the
last man on earth.
Good. Well, if you again like us, subscribe to us on iTunes or your favorite podcasting app. You probably are just listening to this on iTunes because you're a good boy and good girl. And leave us a review, especially within the first couple weeks here. We really want to see a review,
especially in the first couple.
Especially. And anything good or bad, tell us how we're doing, how we can improve. Positivity works because we're all about being positive.
Yeah.
I also want to thank John Hancock III for the use of our theme song. I think it's a pretty dope song. Stay Plus. You should check that out on iTunes as well. That about does it. So, Lauren, you want to give us our catchphrase sign-off from here on out?
I've got this prepared, man. It's coming right now. And it is sayonara, suckers!
You ready for this? Mm-hmm. Let's do this. Just fake pretend to stab someone. Oh no! It's good. I think you got it. Twist and then retract.